Hey,
All right, it's coming up. All right, now let's get this started.
woo.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
good
hey,
evening.
guys, how are you?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I am your host for the evening, Alicia Bowens. I am a speaker, author, life coach, IT professional, real estate expert, all of that stuff. Um, if you know Dr. Vicky, she coined me, called me the processor because I like to usher people through the process. I like to see people from the beginning of the process to the end, and that goes in real estate and IT and everything I do. But I'm not going to talk long because I want to give Ingrid as much time as needed because I need to take notes myself so I can get my money as I know you all do. And I'm tired of holding janky businesses, having
Oh
janky
gosh.
businesses. So I need to make sure that my businesses are in order in 2020 so I can have my numbers right and I can have my finances in order and we can get this going. So I'm going to get started and I'm going to hand it on over to Miss Ingrid Lavon and you can take it from here. Good evening.
All
Thank you
right.
for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. What a week. It has been a busy, busy week, I'm sure
Yeah.
for all of us. When I tell you everybody staying glued to the news,
Mhm.
not just related to COVID, but the economy and the
Mhm.
unemployment rate and layoffs and downsizing and furloughs and stores opening up and stores not opening up. I can't keep up. I don't know what's open and what's not.
Mhm.
So what I
Right.
decided to do is just stay in the house until the coast is clear. That's what my house is doing.
Right.
But while we're in the house, this is a really, really, really good time to prepare not only your money, but prepare your mind for what's to come. And I say
Right.
prepare your mind because you hear many people talking about the new normal. And I can buy into that. I can buy into the fact that this is definitely going to be a different way of life. I believe that many
Mhm.
people are going to come out ahead. It may not feel like it right now, but I firmly believe that many people are going to come out ahead. We know history shows and statistics shows that most businesses, the most successful people are born out of a downturn, out of a recession. Creative ideas happen when people don't have anything else to do but to figure it out. People start more businesses because they don't have a way of making any other thing happen. People get creative, people collaborate, partnerships are born out of recessions, collaborations are born. And so it is up to us to kind of understand what that means for us individually and what it means for our families, and to take grasp of that. Take grasp of the fact that this is the day, this is the time right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, right this very minute, right now is the time to make the decision to say yes to whatever you've been thinking about doing.
Mhm.
Say yes right now, because you may not get this chance again. I like to tell people that second chances are the best chances, because the first chance we take for granted. We make mistakes. We do things unintentionally. We don't have a strategy. We don't have a plan. We are living off the successes of other parts of our lives. And sometimes we mess up. But Lord and behold, you get that second chance. That second chance is respected. That second chance is that thing that you hold on to, and you hold it in high regards because you know what it felt like to miss your first chance. And so I tell people, this is your second chance. This is the chance to invest. This is the chance to build. If you have an income right now, this is a chance to buy cheap. This is a chance to get into industries that you may have looked at and you may have not have even considered being a part of it, like this whole technology play. There's going to be an enormous amount of technology born out of today.
Mhm.
Like none of us were TikToking before COVID.
Right.
I wasn't.
I wasn't even.
We weren't TikToking 8 weeks ago. And I know for a fact we weren't TikToking for Christmas. So here we are 7 weeks into quarantine and everybody is TikToking.
Right.
That goes to show you the power of time and the power of innovation and how quickly it can evolve from nothing into something. So whatever it is on your heart right now, this is the time to do it. This is the time to take that chance. This is your second chance. And so I have been participating on weekly calls for the last, 4 weeks, educating communities, businesses, business owners, CFOs, CEOs, employees, anybody that wanted to listen about the financial opportunity for businesses. From 0 employees, meaning just yourself, to 500 employees. This is the chance. This is the opportunity for you to truly invest in your business and to keep it going. So I've been talking a lot about the PPP, the Payment Protection Program, as well as the EIDL, and that's the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. I know that you probably had a couple people. I'm not sure if you had anybody else talking about it, but here's the gist of it. The gist of it was really born out of 2 things: putting your families first and making sure business survive, because those in combination drives down the unemployment rate. The goal was to come out of this pandemic as whole as possible. And that is why the cap is $10 million. And that is why a sole proprietor like myself, or an independent contractor like many of you, or a business with 100 employees can get access to funding to compensate for their payroll and their expenses. So all you had to do was contact your local bank if you didn't want to go through a big bank like a Chase of the B of A, because we already know what happened to that money. That gets me so frustrated. We already know what happened to that money. That money went to places that it should not have gone to, and is now coming back because people were ashamed. They were ashamed. Shame on those companies for taking money out of the truly businesses that needed it and put it in their pockets when they have access to much greater pots, I like to say, as other businesses do. But they're giving it back, so I won't beat them up too bad. They're giving the money back. And kudos to the government for going back to the TRA and pulling out another $600 million to fund this. Now, I want everybody to be very clear. We're going to pay for this. And that is why I'm on a mission to ensure that everybody gets it. Because whether you get it or not, you're going to pay for it through your taxes. This is not free money. So this is the time to take advantage of it, even if your business is somewhat sustaining itself. That's going to help you sustain longer, because at the end of the day, we don't know truly how long the impacts of this pandemic is going to linger. Yes, the country may open up tomorrow in some parts, and yes, the state may open up at the end of the month, but we don't truly understand the impact. And we won't understand the impact until we see some more data points, which is another 6 to 8 weeks post-opening. So that's why in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start the next level of conversations, and we're going to pivot from talking about getting the money to talking about what's next. What's after the money?
So I want to pause you right there, because I want to make sure people know who they're listening to.
Okay.
So can you tell us who you are? Because I want people to know that these aren't play people that I'm bringing on to these meetings. These are some serious experts. So just take a few minutes, just tell us who you are, what a powerhouse you are.
It's funny you say that, because I truly am extremely blessed. 5 years ago, you couldn't have told me that I would be here where I am right now, either sitting on a call with you. You know, part of my story, Alicia, literally almost lost everything about 5 years ago, and have just built myself up from literally the ashes and I've always been a numbers girl. I've been a numbers girl since I was 5. I balanced Big Mama's checkbook, and I ran numbers for Big Mama, and I counted her money for chicken dinners, and Big Mama was the foster parent. Big Mama was the babysitter. Big Mama is actually my first recollection of an entrepreneur. She did
Mhm.
everything. I know for a fact she had 4 jobs and probably some that I'm too young to even remember. But at a very young age, I think my family saw that I had a gift for numbers. And I just kind of matriculated through that and went off to college, Grambling State University, Grambling, go Grambling, HBCU. And I have an MBA in quantitative analysis. I spent 18 years between GE and Xerox, where I started out as a marketing manager, managing about a couple $1 million marketing budget for national associations like the VFW and AAA and the American Legion when I was with GE Partnership Marketing Group, and kind of elevated my career to leaving Xerox in 2016, seems like so long ago, 2017, as a corporate controller managing about $1 billion in revenue. Inside of that, I was tapped by Dr. Lynn to come and meet with her in LA to talk about some profit strategy. And that was in late 2015. And unbeknownst to me, I knew what she was doing, but I didn't know because I was, people just do their job. Like my head was down. I'm the corporate girl. I have a lot to do. I traveled between the West Coast and Chicago every 6 weeks. So I didn't have time to really spend a lot of time on social media and LinkedIn and all those platforms where people kind of kept up with one another. I just didn't have the time. And so apparently they were keeping up with me. And so I flew out to LA and I walk into the room for this meeting, and it's actually a strategy session for MC Light's business, Sunny Girl Entertainment. And of course I'm trying to be cool, like, yeah, I got this. But inside I was like, this is somebody I watched on TV. I'm a roughneck. Like I knew, like I was inside going crazy. Outside, I'm like, yeah, so what are we going to talk about? And so fast forward 5 years later, I have had the opportunity to work with many celebrities, both on a management side as well as profit strategy side. Just today, I received a call. That's why I was kind of late coming on and connecting with you. A young lady, she's actually a celebrity nail artist. And she does the nails of Vanessa Simmons, Alicia Keys, a bunch of different celebrities. She is the nail celebrity. I didn't even know there was a such thing as a nail celebrity stylist, but that is her. And she reached out to me because the nail specialist community, nail technician community is suffering, and she wants to partner with me to help them with their businesses and so on and so forth. So being a corporate girl turned traveling back and forth to LA and Hollywood has definitely been a blessing. And inside of that, I've had, of course, my personal situations where I went through a divorce and had to rebuild, and now I'm remarried, and so life is good. And I am truly a walking testament that only God can do what he did. Only God can take a girl that was raised by a single mom, I've been working since I was 15 years old. My first job was at McDonald's, and my mother changed my birth year so that I could work. Like she literally changed on my birth certificate, and we took in that forged birth certificate to McDonald's and they hired me. And so I don't know anything but working. And I've been fortunate and blessed enough to do what I love. So that's why it doesn't feel like working. And that's why hanging out with you, Alicia, and spending time with you and getting to know you and admiring your drive and your story. Your story is phenomenal. And the things that you've been able to accomplish this is why we do what we do. And so when people say, well, tell us about yourself, it's kind of like, hey, I'm just a girl that came from almost nothing, and I am living life to the fullest. When they bury me, they're going to look over and say, ain't nothing left, because I'm going to rock this thing out so hard that they won't even need a casket, like, because there won't be anything to put in there. That's how I'm living life now. And so now is the time to take advantage of the access. Now is the time to build a business. I know many of you guys, I don't know exactly who's on, but all of us that have W-2s. I'm also a chief financial strategist for a global staffing company, and I love it. And I left corporate America in 2016, vowing that I would never go back. And quite honestly, I made more money outside of corporate America than I did inside. Like my first year by myself, I almost doubled my income. But I love people. I love the corporate feel. I love the strategy, and an opportunity just literally fell in my lap and I took it. And so now I'm doing that, and I still get to help small businesses and medium-sized businesses or micro businesses or whatever the new word people call it. I just say businesses, help businesses grow their profit. And you hear me talk about profit because people get caught up on revenue. And revenue is that top line number. That's that number when you sell a book, that's the price. But that is not the number that sustains your business. It's that profit number. It's that number that's left over that allows you to reinvest in your business, to identify new revenue streams, to take that investment or that profit and put it back into the business or put it into yourself, or to allow you to kind of maneuver and move in different locations and in circles to network and bring on investors. It's the profit that attract investors. And if you don't know your numbers, you can't predict your profit. And if you can't predict your profit, you will go out of business. And so I'd like to tell people that not knowing your numbers is the going in business and the going out of business strategy. It's the grand opening and it's the grand closing. Because between the grand opening and the grand closing is your financial acumen and the knowledge of the numbers to keep the doors open. It's not the cute logo. It's not the great meme. It's not the testimonials, although all those things are extremely valuable and helpful. It is your ability to manage your profit and loss statement and the expenses and your costs that will allow you to stay in business time and time again, and to weather the storm of pandemics. People that had a good, solid profit and loss statement and balance sheet, yes, they're feeling the pain of declining revenue. But if they had strong profit margins, the numbers at the top may be small, but their bottom line is still strong. And what happens is, even if your top line shrinks and your bottom line, your profit is still strong, when you combine that with a PPP or an EIDL, that's called winning. Because that's an infusion of cash immediately that's going to help you already build what you've already been building on top of a solid profit foundation. So it's critical that even in a home-based business scenario, that you really understand the dynamics of how to financially run something profitable. And I don't care if you're making $100 a month or $1,000 a month or $100,000 a month, the numbers don't change. The methodology of how you calculate those things don't waver. How I managed a profit and loss statement for Xerox at $100 million is the same way I managed a profit and loss statement for Sunny Girl Entertainment. It doesn't change. It's just maybe one less zero, but God willing, we're going to increase that by some zeros, right? So the goal is to understand, spend some time with your business, spend some time in your business on those things that create the level of profit that allows you to keep your doors open.
So I got a quick question. What in your finding and working with many businesses, why is it so hard for us, especially us as minority businesses, to face our numbers? A lot of us start these businesses, we run it, and then we have no idea what our revenue is. We don't know what our net income is, gross income. We don't know any of that. Why is it so hard for us to face those numbers, or even just figure out those numbers?
I mean, it's a number of things. I can tell you from my experience, it's varied from business owners being very private because they maybe started their business with their 401ks and their IRAs and their personal money. And the business is so intimate and it's so personal that they have combined their personal mindset with their business mindset, and they've gotten in the way of what true growth looks like. And so to have someone from the outside come in and help manage or review or assess their financial stability, it's almost like hurting the parents' feelings of a baby. Nobody wants to be told that their kid may not be ready for college, which means a business owner don't want to be told that they're not on a growth trajectory. They want to believe that they are because what they've done so far has gotten them thus far. But no, they don't want someone to tell them that where you are is where you'll be until you take your investment or your access or your resources to the next level. Another is we just don't know what we don't know. And it becomes prideful. We don't want to ask because I'll give you an example. I have some celebrity clients that don't want to tell people that they work with me. And that's okay. But like I explained to them, working with me doesn't mean you're broke. Working with me actually means that you're going to grow. And so it becomes, a pride thing. I want people to believe that I'm on top of things that I'm not really on top of. And so when times like this happen is when my DM is flooded and my email is over flooded, because now people want to understand, well, I don't have a profit and loss statement and they're asking me for one, but I can't apply for the PPP because I don't have one. Can you do one for me? Well, I can't snap my fingers and say, la da da, you have a P&L. Putting together a P&L for a certain level of business that's driving 6, 7, 8 figures of revenue takes time. That means I'm collaborating now with your accountant. Hopefully you paid your taxes and you have those documents, but now I'm collaborating with other parts of your business to build something that should have been maintained all along. And so I think that, that's really the reason why. We don't know what we don't know. We're prideful. And we as a people don't invest where it's important. We don't invest in our business like we're so busy trying to make the money that we don't develop a strategy to keep it. And so our businesses struggle because we are so ingrained in the top line that we're not watching our costs and our expenses, and we don't have anybody watching it for us. We just grinding it out, deal after deal, bringing the deals to the table, getting the customers in the door, and not understanding that the more you're bringing in, you're losing it at the same rate or greater because you don't have the right processes and systems in place in the middle to help keep that. So the hard work goes in vain. And it's not until I had a client that came to me a few years ago, the bank would not renew their credit line until they had somebody with my expertise to come on and help them manage their business. This company had never in 20 something years had some level of a CFO in their business. And we're talking a multi-million-dollar business. And they had a multi-million-dollar credit line. And the bank said no more. The bank said, if you don't get somebody in here, and not your accountant, because they did have an accountant that was doing their taxes as well as, keeping up with their balance sheet and their income statement. They were like, we need to understand your projections. We need to understand your strategy. How are you going to grow? What happens if you lose a client? It's because what I do is I run not only what I see, but I run what if scenarios. Because you have to be prepared for the best case and the worst case. The best case is you grow your business and you get new clients, and the margins on those deals are great and everybody makes money and you stay in business for years to come. The worst case scenario is you lose your main client that has a healthy margin. What do? How do you plug that hole? And so banks are requiring clients to tell them, what's your hole plugging strategy and and who's managing it?
So for businesses, those of us who have businesses and we've been running it for, say, years, don't have any numbers together, don't have anything in order, how do we get started getting the things in order? What are the first steps we need to take to get our businesses in order?
The first thing you need to do is make sure you have a business account. Make sure you have a business account, and if it's not a business account, have a checking account that you're just using for business until you get a business account. Stop commingling your money.
Mhm.
Because oftentimes business owners, I will ask, well, what's your salary? What do you mean, what's my salary? Well, aren't you paying yourself? No, why not? So you left a company that you were getting paid to start your company that you're not getting paid. Right? You had to think about that, right? And that's exactly the answer that I get. It's like deer in headlights. Like, you're right. Like, why am I not paying myself? And people say, well, I can't afford to pay myself. You can't afford not to. I don't care if it's $10 or $100. There needs to be some level of salary paid to yourself from the business account to establish a precedence of money. Because here's what happens. When you start paying yourself and you start doing the right thing, the right things happen. But when you, to your point, you said, I don't want to run a janky business. When your business is janky and you borrowing from Peter to pay Paul on your personal side, you're going to borrow in Peter to pay Paul on your business side. Mm-hmm. Separate those two. Understand what your true revenue is for that month. Understand what your true costs are. Some would argue and say, well, I run my business from my house. Well, guess what? The tax codes say that if you run your business from your house and you don't have a brick and mortar, that you can write off 33, I think it's 33% or 35% of your rent. Okay, guess what? How much is your rent? $1,000. Okay, what's $1,000 minus 33%? That's your expense. So it's those types of basic things that I would like to see people do. And that's why I partnered with Dr. Lynn, because this is the season of partnership and collaboration. It just is. For the amount of work that I do and the amount of emails and requests that I get, I knew that I couldn't do this alone. And what I do is an important piece of helping businesses become sustainable, but it is just a piece. And so now with me partnering with Dr. Lynn and the Entrepreneurs Academy, I'm able to not only give my clients that financial piece, which is the front end, which is helps them get sustainable, process driven, look at revenue streams, document things. You know, if you're a sole proprietor, your P&L statement ultimately becomes your Schedule C. When you sit down with your accountant, he's going to ask you, well, what are you writing off? All you have to do is pull out your profit and loss template and say, okay, I'm writing off $3,000 in travel and $4,000 in whatever. And you have it all in documentation. So there's an order to things. And so now I'm able to not only do that for businesses, but also give them access to attorneys and trademark attorneys and business structure attorneys, and even the personal finance side, because that's, of course, that's Dr. Lynn's area. But the personal finance side drives the business finance. Because if you can't manage your personal checkbook, you can't manage a business checkbook. And why would customers spend money for you if you're going to be in business for a day and gone out of business tomorrow? Mm-hmm. So first, separate your money. Second of all, just stop and develop some type of plan. A 3-month plan, which is a quarter plan, and an annual plan for your business. If you don't have at minimum a 3-month projection right now, you're already behind, because the world is going to be different in 3 months. So assess where you are right now and start to put together your projections. So whether you made nothing or you made something, you're going to get this PPP or the EIDL and you're going to get an infusion of cash. Develop a plan. What do I want to make? What is it going to take me to make it? How much am I going to have to spend to make it? And what do I expect to make from a bottom line perspective? High level, very high level, because most of us know what it takes to make the money. We know what we're spending every day. Some of us have Zoom costs, and if you're an author, you have printing costs, and get on with your printer. If you're an author, here's some advice. I just spoke to my production company that's producing my planner, the Decade Planner, shameless plug. But I said, listen, we're in a pandemic. I need pandemic pricing. And the lady started to laugh, and I was serious. I need pandemic pricing. So I would like to understand what bulk pricing can I get at a lower quantity to still be able to provide this product to my clients, but with less investment. And they actually worked with me. I mean, it was a couple dollars cheaper, but $2 cheaper when you're selling hundreds of planners a month is a big deal. And so I say that is why it's critical to develop a plan so you know what to ask for. And then get connected to some resources, get connected to some classes. There are a million free classes out there. I wholeheartedly believe in free resources, but free will not get you where you need to be. Free will not get you where you need to be. Eventually, you're going to have to make an investment of some sort. So assess what your investment or your risk tolerance is on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, and then figure out what you need versus what you want. So I need to know my finances, but I'd love a pretty logo. A pretty logo not going to help you if you don't know your money.
Right.
So now you're talking about prioritizing what happens in your business to get the biggest bang for your investment.
Okay. So now speaking about the PPP and the EIDL,
Yes.
what can you just go over what's the differences between the two, as well as from a PPP perspective, just say, I don't have any employees. So you hear a lot of people say, I don't have any employees, so I won't qualify for that. So can you just break those two down and tell us who can qualify and what do we need to qualify?
So here's the thing. I've been the difference. And so let me give you a little history on both of them. So the EIDL, which is the Economic Industry Disaster Loan, has been in place. That's a loan that the SBA has been doing for years. That is the 360,000 loans that they process a year, right? That is a part of their DNA. That's what they do. The SBA gets people, it gives them access, and that loan has been a part of their program. And that is a loan. It is a very low interest bearing loan that you're able to get. And there are some portions that are forgivable, but it's a very low amount. It is a loan. It is a program that's always been in place. The one thing that they did add under the EIDL in conjunction with the CARES Act is you can get up to $1,000 per employee. So that's really heavily employee based, the EIDL. So you can get $1,000 if you have employees on payroll. You can get up to $1,000 per employee. The goal is to get you whole. The payment protection program is up to 100% forgivable. The goal, the intent of the payment protection program was to do two things: keep businesses operating for the next 8 to 10 weeks, because they projected that we would be through the pandemic in that time period, and to keep your operations going and not have to lay off people, because the focus was keeping people working. So that's what the PPP does. The PPP keep you operating and keep people employed, which is why they ask for payroll summary. So one of the things they ask is, I would like a copy of your 940 or 941s. Those are payroll summaries that payroll companies produce on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis. Most companies have them if they're using a payroll system. B of A, Chase, a couple of those banks have some level of a system where you can also generate some type of report, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is, most would argue and say, well, I'm a hairstylist or a barber. I don't have any employees. Okay, well, one, you have yourself. So you're self-employed, you count your salary. So that means you have a Schedule C. So they want to see your Schedule C from 2018. If you have 2019 taxes, they'll of course take that, but they will accept 2018 taxes, your Schedule C, to prove that's what you made. Then they want you to outline your expenses, which is why it's always helpful to have a profit and loss statement, because now you don't have to make it up and go through 12 months or 3 months or 6 months of bank statements to figure out what did I spend, because a part of that goes into the bottom line number that you're eligible for. And I'll get to that in a second. So then they ask you, what are your expenses, right? And if you don't have a profit and loss statement, which they ask for, then some banks will accept bank statements. So now we have the Schedule C, a 1099, your bank statements, or your taxes. Now, every bank is different. Different banks are requiring and asking for different things. So you want to make sure that you understand what your bank requirements are. The one thing I did learn when I was on an investor call this week is you can go onto the SBA.gov website. It's SBA.gov. Matter of fact, I have it here. You guys, let's see. I knew I should have that in hand. It's SBA.gov/local-assistant, ASSISTANT/find. That's SBA.gov/local-assistant, ASSISTANT/find. And you're able to go and put in your zip code and identify banks in your zip code that have different requirements. So if you know you don't have tax returns, you can identify a bank on that site that doesn't require bank statements. So it's a matter of,
What was that link again?
I'm sorry, not bank statements that don't require taxes.
Okay. She said SBA.gov/local-assistant/find.
And play around with it. I had to type it in a couple times in my search bar, or you can just say, go to SBA.gov/local and just follow the cues. And it'll tell you, you're able to, one, identify banks that are in your zip code and understand their requirements. The most successful place that I'm seeing that many of my clients are being successful in getting money is through PayPal. And PayPal requirements are a lot less because they are defined as a fintech company. And a fintech company is a financial institution that's technology driven. So it's fintech. So like PayPal, Square, I know PayPal and Square and Cabbage, they're non-financial institutions, but they are financially based through technology. They're accepting applications for PPP. Also, GoFundMe, they have grants on their website that you're able to apply for. Okay. And basically what you do is look at your salary, either what you paid yourself or paid yourself and your employees. You add that to your expenses over a period of time. Now, if you have 12 months of data, that's the best. But if you just started your company 6 months ago or 3 months ago, you use what you have. You just would have had to establish your business by February 15th of this year. You add all those numbers up together to get an annual number. Get one number at your total salary, total expenses, one number. And then you divide it by the number of months that you're providing data for. So if it's 12 months, you divide it by 12. If it's 6 months, you divide it by 6. If it's 3 months, you divide it by 3. Mm-hmm. Then you multiply it by 2.5 times. And then that gives you your eligibility amount. That is that multiplier that everybody kind of got hung up on. Like, I don't know how to get to the 2.5. I'm like, just add everything up and divide it by the number of months of data that you're providing. You can't divide it by 12 if you're only given 3 months of data. Or if you're given 12 months of data, you can't divide it by 3 because that number becomes inflated. Because what they're looking for is a 12-month rolling average or a 6-month rolling average or a 3-month rolling average. Mm-hmm. And then you multiply by 2.5 times. Again, there's a methodology to it. That 2.5 times is tied to the 8 weeks that you have to spend the PPP. Because keep in mind, the government is thinking this thing is only going to last a couple months. So you see how everything's connected? The 2.5 times the multiplier is technically 2.5 times your salary and expenses, because they anticipated you only being in this situation for 2.5 months. And after 8 weeks, here's the kicker. You have to apply for forgiveness. And they want to see different levels of documentation. And I talk about that in my CARES Act update on Wednesdays and my business finance class that I teach on, CARES Act is on Tuesday. My business finance class that I teach on Wednesday nights, I talk about the documentation that's required that you keep. Because here's the thing, the banks are banking on you not doing right with the money. And there are certain requirements. It's not free money. The money has to be used for what you applied for it for. And I know I used the word for twice, but it made sense in my head. Whatever you applied, whatever you put in that number when you applied for it, that is what you have to use the money for. And then I highly suggest that you separate the money. So this goes back to my original comment about separating your personal from your business, because it's easier to track money that somebody's giving you when there's a clean slate than to commingle it with your personal money, because you're going to have to show documentation as to how the money was spent. And there's only certain things you can spend it on.
Okay. So now that you mentioned the classes that you are teaching, can you give us some more information on that? Because I know there are people on this call on Facebook Live who are wanting to get connected to you, want to take these classes so they can get this documentation together, get their money, learn, get their numbers.
I don't know. I kind of like just opened Pandora's box when I said, oh, I think I'm going to do a CARES Act update. I didn't know 500, 600. I only had a Zoom account for 100 people. And Lynn was like, that's not enough people. And I'm like, what you mean? It's 100 people. I'm just going to tell them about the CARES Act. I increased it to 500. And every single Tuesday, I have 700-800 people registered. And we could only let 500 people in. And that's been consistent for 4 weeks. And what happens is we give them up-to-date news on what's happening. Oh, more money's coming, or this is where this lender is. Like cabbage was literally added this week. So I stay in touch with what's happening day by day with the CARES Act, with the PPP, so that people can make sure they get the money. So that's Tuesday, and you can register for that. You can go to my IG. I am Ingrid Lavon on IG, and you click my link in the bio, and the registration link is already there for next week. Like we try to keep it because we know we're going to keep doing this at least for the next 8 to 10 weeks, talking about the CARES Act, and then we'll pivot in a couple weeks and start talking about what's next. So that's that. And then on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m., I teach a business finance 101 class. And I teach you everything that corporate America use in their business finance. I break it down so that the hairstylist, the barber, the nail technician, the real estate owner can create and manage and build their own profit and loss statement. And that class is also on my IG. You can go to I am Ingrid Lavon, or you can go to buildwealthwithingrid.com and get into the class. There is one caveat though. I do require, and this is a requirement that that we all support, is I do require everyone before they come to my class to go to the home-based business class. Because the worst thing you want to do is get information that you don't know what to do before you get the information on how to establish your business the right way. It's like the pulling the cart before the horse. So I know exactly what's taught in that home-based business class. And a lot of the information that I teach is caveated on that. So it's a step. It's like it's the next step. So you learn the home-based business, you get your business structure right, you understand the tax deductions, your expenses. Then you come to my class and we actually we give you templates. Like I give you a profit and loss template that you can start to build now. You can actually even use it and build it for 2019. I give you a profit and loss projection template that my financial analyst and I developed a number of years ago to help one of my clients to actually do projections. I give you a PPP calculator so that you're able to drop in all of your numbers, and it actually calculates everything that I said about. I don't want you guys to have to do the math. I took the guesswork out. We built a calculator that allows you to drop the money in for whatever data points you have. And it does all the adding by month to the total number. And then it gives you the amount that you're eligible to apply for. So we tried to create some templates that really help people not only manage their business today, but on a go forward basis. And that is the purpose of that class. And then next month, I'm rolling out the CARES Act after class, which will take place of the normal CARES Act class. And then I'll also be introducing how to generate profit in 60 days. Because once you take the Business Finance 101 and we get you to a place where you now understand your revenue, your cost of goods sold, your expenses, balance sheet, income statement, and all of those good things, now it's time to not drive revenue, but to drive profit. And I talk about and share different strategies on how to move that bottom line. And that's the class that we'll be introducing in May.
Okay.
But I do give like tips and hints and all that stuff on IG. So I rarely do it on Facebook because it's so much to manage. I try to go to one place, and right now Instagram has been my place. I do a lot in my Decaders group. I have a personal Facebook group called the Decade Hers, DECADE, Decade Hers, HERS, that corresponds with my decade planner. We have over 3,000 women in our private group, and we talk about everything. And I go live and I talk about where to get toilet paper to how to manage your business. Because toilet paper was a hot commodity a few weeks ago. So folks needed to know where to get the toilet paper. So somebody even told me where to go get some fresh greens from, and I cooked greens a couple of weeks ago. So it's really, this is the decade of women. We are the women of the decade. This is our time. This is our time to rise up. It is our time to take our place. It is our time to accept responsibility and accountability for all of the resources and access that we have at our fingertips. And we actually pull other women up along with us. This is the season for collaboration. I can't run a multi-million-dollar company by myself. I don't have an interest in doing that. I'd rather do that with some sisters of mine that are, experts in their field. And so it's the decade of the woman. And now is the time to lock arms with people that you respect and admire and go for it.
Okay. So I want to open the floor for any questions that anyone may have. So if you have any questions, whether it's your numbers, whether it's the PPP or EIDL, whatever it is, just raise your hand, unmute. And also on Facebook Live, I know we have some viewers on there watching also. So if you have any questions.
Hey, Facebook Live. I can't see. I'm just now getting used to the technology. So I can't see anything. I can only see you.
Right. Yeah. I have my phone on the other side, so I'm watching the post. Any questions? In the meantime, while we're waiting for questions, what is your website again? Where can they access or sign up for the classes?
You can actually just go to www.ingridlavon.com, and that'll send you everywhere. ingridlavon.com. And you can click on Build Wealth. That'll get you there. And just follow me on Instagram, because I'm constantly I do weekly business finance updates on IG where I talk about the unemployed. I am at a point now that I want people to understand the information and the connection between what's happening in the economy and how that's going to impact your personal economy. Because in order for you to manage your personal economy, you have to know what's happening at the top. So I talk about the number of unemployment claims being filed on a weekly basis and how that's impacting different industries. I talk about the states that have a surplus in jobs and how many layoffs happen in the top 5 states, and what is the unemployment rate in those states. For those of us that's looking to relocate, that may be important to us. So I try to be an information source, all things finance or finance related, so that people make informed decisions.
Okay. So I have a question from Shanice. She's asking, she said, I'm thinking about joining, but what is the difference between the Entrepreneurs Academy versus Wealth Builders? I'm starting everything from scratch.
Oh, I love that question. So here's the deal. The main difference between the two is, one, you're learning, and the Wealth Ambassador is you're learning and earning. So one is your learning, and the other one is your learning and earning. And so learning is, like, for instance, tonight we will all be on our April master class call. I'm a part of the academy too. So I take the classes because I know what I know, but there are things that I don't know. So again, I'm constantly trying to stay up with my learning. Tonight is our investment class with a top investment banker. So we're going to talk about retirement. I know people may be thinking about like, well, we don't even have any money right now, but guess what? One day you will. So now is the time to get in cheap on whatever stocks, bonds, and what have you is available. So that's our class. So that Entrepreneurs Academy gives you access to all of those types of classes, plus different things that the group does collectively. The Wealth Ambassador allows you not only to have access to that, but then you earn money. You get your own personal link, and you send it out. If people want to buy a book, if they want to buy a class, you get a percentage of that sale. Now, look, as for me and my house, we're looking for all income streams. So if I can sit here and talk to you about business finance, but you go on my website and you see that you are looking for a mortgage and you see a mortgage book and you buy it, go forth. I'm happy for you. And guess what? I'll get a little percent of that, and a little adds up to a lot. And so it depends on where you are in your life, whether you just want to learn or whether you want to learn and earn.
Yeah. And I think right now, earning and learning is key, because that's where collaboration takes place. If I had a book and I could have some people help me sell it, like my great aunt says, 40% of something is better than 100% of nothing. So
absolutely, but
I can connect to.
But as women, it's so funny you say that, because as women, we don't collaborate enough. We are not trusting, and for good reason, by the way. I'm not negating the fact that there are some people out there that just don't mean any good for themselves or anybody else. But I don't attract those people.
Right.
I tell people all the time, one, I will never be broke again ever in my life. I am a walking millionaire. Time just has not caught up to me yet. I am the lender, and I will never be the borrower ever again. I am the lender. I'm not the borrower. Everything I touch will be successful. From this point on, everything that I touch will be successful. Every connection, every God-given connection that attached to me will be successful. And everybody that I attach to will grow. So it starts with truly believing that is the case. So I don't worry about what Alicia's doing. I don't worry about what Dr. Lynn is doing. I don't worry about what Dr. Vicky is doing. I don't worry about what Denise is. I don't worry about it, because what I know is that God is going to give me everything I desire. And he's going to give me different avenues to get it. So I have to not only be trusting of other people, but when I'm trusting of him, he won't bring me anybody that's going to take advantage of me. And if they try, he's going to block it, because he's going to show me before it happens. And so that's where it comes into collaboration and putting your book on somebody's site and trusting that when they sell it, they're going to give you the
money. Right.
So earning and learning is definitely the way to go. That's the only way for me to go.
And honestly, people have been doing it for years. We just never paid attention.
Thank you so much.
That's right.
Yeah, you're welcome. Right. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, hop on over to Build Wealth with Ingrid and get those classes. Get in that home-based business class. I know somebody saying, I already have a business. I bet you don't know what we're telling you. I can guarantee you, you will learn 3 things. 3. The call that I was just on was with the celebrity nail art person. She would kill me if she heard me describe it, but that's how I'm not into all that stuff. So I'm just like, oh, she's a celebrity nail person. But she had her business manager on, and her business manager introduced her to me because he took my business finance class and was like, I've been managing her and I didn't know XYZ.
Oh, yeah.
He took my class on this Wednesday, called his client and was like, you need to get on with Ingrid because we should be doing some different stuff. And so I guarantee you, it doesn't matter where you are in the stage of your business, you are going to learn something. And if you say, oh, I have an LLC, guess what? Your LLC is not giving you the tax breaks that a home-based business does. So get in the class, and then come see me.
Okay. I know I need to enroll. I'm going to enroll. So I was waiting for you to come on here so I can take some notes, take some next
Yes.
steps, because I
Look,
need to
we
get
got
my
things to do.
business
We got
back in
things to
order.
do. What time is it?
Yeah.
I know I heard a knock on the door, so that means my family's looking for me.
Yeah, we
I've
got
been in this
about,
office
we got,
since 7 o'clock this morning.
yeah.
So, but I am gonna wrap and say, listen, this is our time, and there's no time like now. And I'll leave you with this quote that I read a few weeks ago that I've been using in my business finance 101 class that not only resonate with me, it's my personal testimony. But I know that it's a testimony of everyone and they just don't talk about it. And it goes something like this. It says that your money, or money is the money that you have is man's choice. The money you have is the man's choice. And that means that you can choose to have it or you can choose not to have it. And if you choose to have it, it's okay, because there's nothing wrong with wanting money. There's, the Bible says there's riches in heaven, that there's nothing wrong with it. It's what people do with it that makes it bad. Or you can choose not to and continue to do what you're doing and look at other people passing you by. And I don't know how to say it nicely, but if you want to be on the sidelines, then stay on the sidelines. But at least support somebody that doesn't want to be on the sidelines, that choose to get in the game and they choose to win, because that is the choice that they make. Support people in their choices. And guess what? When you do that, we'll support your choices.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That money mindset is a whole nother conversation and a whole nother show. So we'll, we'll have to talk about
It
that one another
is.
day. Thank you for jumping on. I don't want to be disrespectful of anyone's time. My intentions is to keep it an hour. I don't see any more questions at the moment, but please feel free to continue to reach out to Ingrid. Her Instagram is
Absolutely.
at I am Ingrid Lavon. Website is ingridlavon.com. And just jump on the class. Jump on
And
the
get in those
class.
classes. You can go to
Keep
Build
business
Wealth.
in order.
We'll build wealth with Ingrid.com. Get in the home-based business class, get in the business finance class, and I'll see you there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, Ingrid. Thank you,
I
everyone,
love
for
you. At least
joining
you know
us.
you want,
Love
look,
you
you know you're one
back.
of my favorites. You know I love you so
I
much.
know.
Mwah. Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a
All
good
right.
evening. Enjoy time with your family. Thank you all, everyone, for jumping on this call. And just stay tuned because we got more excellent speakers coming up in the next couple of weeks. So just
Bye,
stay in
guys.
touch. Bye-bye.